popular for all people modeling trains is this right here, which is the size we had upstairs, is HO. HO scale is 1 to 87. And you actually would write that 1:87. Anyone have any idea what that means? Yes, sir.
It's a ratio?
It's a ratio. A ratio of what?
The size of the train to the size of the track?
You're very close. What it is if you take 1 foot of our train layout upstairs, it's equal to 87 feet in real life. Okay? And so HOs are, we're having a quiz at the end, so remember that one. 1 to 87. And that's, like I said, the most popular. Probably our next most popular is this gauge right here, which is N scale. These are nice, you know, they're hard to remember. HO is the hardest one, because it's 2 letters. N scale is the next smallest, which means actually in ratio size, it has large numbers. Come on in, ladies.
Oh,
There's plenty of seats here.
thank you.
This is, where, by the way, where we have our meetings. This is brand new. I shouldn't say brand new. I guess it is brand new considering the other section over there, building, which you were in, that's 120 years old. This is 5 years. So, N scale is equal to 1 to 160, which means, again, if you had an N scale layout, like a foot long of this track is equal to 160 feet in real life. It's the next most popular. And the real nice thing about N scale, other than for old folks like me who can't see, is you can do a lot in a little bit of space. I mean, and if you don't have a big space, then maybe N scale is what you want, because you can make a really nice layout in a small amount of space. That is, like I said, the second most popular. Then we get up to these two here, which are basically the same scale, and that's O scale. For some of you folks remember the Lionel trains, okay? Lionel trains were back in the when I was a kid, back in the 1950s, thousands of years ago. Lionel was your most popular, and that was O gauge, which is 1 to 48. Took a lot more space, but I tell you, when you woke up as a little kid for Christmas, and you had a train like this running around your Christmas tree, it was like, wow. It was awesome. I mean, really, really cool. Trouble is, you need quite a bit of space if you're really going to model in these. Okay? You also need quite a bit of money. There is another gauge that this is actually sitting on, which isn't the right gauge, but it's called S gauge. And probably the most popular S gauge that people had was American Flyer. And when you were a kid, my age, there were two trains mainly, Lionel and American Flyer. If you had a lot of money, you had American Flyer. If you were like me, Lionel worked. And that's fine. There is another gauge that's even smaller than this, called Z scale. Z scale is equal to 1 foot of track is equal to 220 feet in real life. The only thing bad about Z scale is if you have allergies, you sneeze, you blow the train right off the track. It's sad. But again, most popular, HO, 1 to 87. I would say probably 80% of all model railroading is in HO. Okay? Now, you've seen all kinds of cars upstairs, right? You were running, did anybody get to run a train? Did anyone let you run a train? Oh, George. I would let you at least blow the whistle.
Oh, we never blow the whistle.
Okay, well that's pretty good. Okay, I forgot the last group. We're going to start with some few cars. I'm just going to talk about what they are and what they're used for. You don't see these very much anymore.
Cabooses,
It's a caboose. What was the purpose of a caboose? Does anyone have any idea? Yes, sir.
On a freight train, people could ride in the back.
Yeah, actually the train's crew could ride in the back, okay? Basically the brakeman. And what would happen is, if they were stopping to drop off a particular car or anything, He'd be out there with a lantern, and they'd use a signaling system that he would let the engineer know when to go forward, when to back up, when the train was uncoupled and everything, because his job would be run along uncoupling cars by hand, okay? There was another purpose for this car. Where did you always find this car at?
The end.
On the train. Uh-oh, look at the, yes sir.
The end.
What's your name? You're doing very well.
Charlie.
Charlie, you're doing a great job. You know why it was put at the end of the train? This doesn't have it on it, which it should, but it's okay. They had a couple little red lanterns here at the end of the train. Guess what you have in the back of your car? Yes,
Lights.
tail lights. And guess what they're for? It's so people can see that, oh, hey, there's a car up in front of me. Same with a caboose. It had red lanterns hung there, and it just in case another train was coming up, they could see these red lights off in the distance and said, we better stop. Otherwise, we're going to have a real big problem. So caboose. Don't see these anymore. Now what they put on trains are what are known as FREDs. FRED stands for flashing rear end device. What it is, it's a little box. It has a flashing light on it. It also has a radio signal that broadcasts. And what that does is broadcast to any trains coming along the track behind it, that they can pick up that signal knowing that there's a train in front of them. But I think there's one or two cars maybe up on the layout that you might have seen a little flashing light on the end of the car. They put that on instead of a caboose. Why did they get rid of cabooses? Save money. They didn't need a brakeman anymore. And they're going, you know, don't need this anymore if we can put a little box there to take its place. You know, everything's about money. Okay. Let's go to this right here. And before you say coal car,
Oh, on the cabooses, most of them used to be red, and that one is yellow.
yeah, they painted them in various colors.
They did, okay.
Yeah. Especially later near the end of the cabooses. There were blue, there were various colors. Red again was something that kind of showed up. This is not a coal car. Well, it is a coal car, it's hauling coal, but this is called a hopper, okay? Which could carry what? Coal, possibly. It also can carry, hoppers were used to carry various types of minerals, ores. Like if you're up in Minnesota, these would be filled with copper ore. Excuse me, iron ore, it's not copper. Although copper hoppers up there, but oh, never mind. Various types of minerals, okay? And you see if you go out to West Virginia or Powder River out west, you'll see long trains of these hauling. Mostly you see coal cars, but that's a hopper. This is another type of hopper. It's just called a covered hopper. Why do you think it's covered? Yes, sir.
Maybe to hold liquids.
Could hold liquids, possibly. I'm from Battle Creek. What do they make in Battle Creek? Cereal. This brings the raw materials into the Kellogg's plant. Cornmeal, oats, for oatmeal or whatever. And why was it covered then? Possibly not only blow out, but yes.
It could get soggy if it rains.
You're right, if it rains. Charlie? You're a good man, Charlie. It is covered, okay? I worked one summer at a cement factory. You don't want to work in a cement factory, believe me. We lived on the lake at that time. My wife would give me a bar of soap and send me to the lake to wash, because all you could see was the whites of my eyes. That had cement dust all over. Anyhow, this would carry cement. Again, why was it covered? You don't want to get wet. What happens to the cement once it gets wet? Yes, sir.
It hardens.
Yeah, it will harden up once it's dry. And one of that would ruin the car completely. One time, this didn't show up at the cement plant. My job for the last hour and a half was hauling 60-pound bags of cement. One cement mixer took 12 bags. The other took 8. And I had to go up, carry them up stairs, slit it open, pour it into the cement mixer. Do that for an hour and a half. It was fun. Okay, so this is going in to the Kellogg's plant. Cornmeal, oats, whatever you're gonna make, right? What's this called? Everybody should know this. Oh, Charlie, you answer everything. We'll give this young man here.
A
It looks like a what?
cargo.
It starts with a B. It ends with an X, and it's got an O in the middle.
A box train.
Oh, it's a boxcar. Very good. Okay. This is what's coming out of the Kellogg's plant. They make the cereal, put it in boxes, then they put the boxes in cases, and the cases go in these. And then these are delivered all around the country to major centers. And then from there they would distribute them by truck more than likely. But for the coming out of the Kellogg's plant, you have these right here. Okay. Anyone know what this is? Yes. Moo. Yes.
An animal car.
Okay, right. This is called a stock car. You ever hear of livestock?
Yes.
This is what this hauls. It can haul horses, cattle, moo cows, okay, pigs, and especially not around here so much. But if you're over further in the Midwest, they would be picking up cattle and then delivering them to Chicago, where the big meat packing plants are. Yes, ma'am.
Once I seen one like that, and it had mostly those cars.
Yep, they could. Okay. Let's see. We're going to go. I really don't like this one, but it's pretty good. I'm just going to go quickly. This is the flat car. Flat cars, basically they're flat, are used to haul large items that you don't have to worry too much about the weather. If you take these stakes off and you just have it flat like this, you'll see military trains that will have tanks, the Humvees and everything, long trains of these. You can see some, in fact, you were upstairs, didn't you? So one of the trains that ran around had a bunch of big earth-moving equipment on it.
Yeah.
Those were flat cars. They also can carry giant boxes, like if they produce a giant air conditioning unit that go on top of a building. They'd probably transport it in one of these first, from where it was manufactured. Okay. Now somebody mentioned before, by the way, that's just weights that are in here. Somebody said, I think maybe it was you, that it might carry what? You said?
Water.
Well, water, liquid. This is a tank car. And everybody says, oh, it carries oil. And it could. But it can carry oil. It can carry any kind of liquid. Syrup. Acids. In fact, not too far from you guys, there's a town called Pottersville. And there was a train that derailed that had a number of these. They had to evacuate the entire town because what happened was they were afraid that one of these cars that was carrying hazardous liquid was leaking. And they were afraid that it put out a poison gas, so they had to worry about this. Was a number of years ago. You don't have to worry now. Okay. Here is a car. Anyone have any idea what this is? Charlie, you're just too good. Yes?
It carries cars from GM plant.
You got it. And Lansing here makes various cars. One lady, she was telling me all the ones they make. This is called an auto rack. Okay, what's kind of neat about these, you see these doors on the end? Over not too far from here, probably a half mile, they have a whole bunch of these. And what they do is they're all lined up. And these doors open up and there's ramps in between. And they start at one end and they just drive autos the whole length of the train till they get to the last car that's empty, stop, and load them. And somebody was talking yesterday about some of the maniac drivers that drive these things. I mean, they're flying through these cars, which aren't very wide, and to park them. Then you got on one car, go get another one, vroom, vroom, and fill these up. Now, early on, these auto racks didn't have all this metal on the side and everything. And it was really cool, because when I was a kid, starting about in the 60s, you could look and see all the nice cars that were coming out. I'm from Dearborn, which where Ford Motor Company's at. And you go, whoa, look at all those neat cars. The only problem was, some of these cars, they would leave on a siding, and the next morning they'd come out, all the radios would be gone from the car. So now they make them like a safe. The other thing was, they didn't want kids throwing rocks at the cars as they went by. So now they're sort of almost like a tank. They're to protect the cars. And that's what that's for. Okay. This here is what is known as, bad example, Schlitz beer. Oh. This is what is known as a reefer, or a refrigerated car. Now this is an older one, okay? Back in starting about the 1920s through the 1940s, before you had air conditioning and mechanical devices to cool things, this is what they used. See these little doors on the top there? They're little hatches? What would happen would be, this train would go about, 300-400 miles. They'd come into what is known as an icing station. The icing station would have blocks of ice, and they'd have chutes that would come down to these cars, and they'd open up these hatches, and there's trays that run the full length of this. And they just put ice blocks, slide them along, and it'd keep the cars cool. Because what they carry in here, especially like from California, produce, and what happens with produce that doesn't stay cool, it rots. Same with meat. So nowadays, though, all of our reefers are mechanical reefers, meaning that they actually have air conditioning units right on the individual cars to keep them cool. You see some trucks like that will actually have on the trailer an air conditioning unit. That's what the reefer was for. Our last car, and then I'll quit. No, I won't. Yeah, I will. What, 2 o'clock? You guys planning to go down to Wildemar maybe? She thought maybe you might.
She thought it was too long of a walk on this busy of a road.
Oh, yeah. Well, where'd your bus go?
Oh, they went to pick up other passengers. They'll be back at 3.
Oh, well, good. We'll have some outdoor time, I guess. Anyone know what this is? Yes.
A passenger coach?
Good guess. I mean, it looks like one, right? This is actually what is known as an RPO. Can you help them out by telling me possibly what RPO might mean?
Railway Post Office?
Railway Post Office. These were used from 1920s to 1940s. What happened was, trains would be going like from Chicago to Detroit, big city. And they would be going past some little small towns, like down by where I'm at. There's a little town called Galesburg. Well, the train really didn't stop there, but they wanted mail to be delivered to Chicago. So what they'd do is they'd have a canvas bag about this size that they'd hang on a hook. And it'd be on an arm like this hanging out next to the track. So it'd be hanging out, the mail would be hanging out, something like this. See these things right along the side here? See this right here? That thing, that swings out. And what happens is, as the train goes flying by, this little thing has a hook on it. And it would grab the mail bag, the canvas mail bag. Then they'd swing it back into the car, and they would actually sort the mail. Because not all the mail was going to Chicago. Some of it was going on further west. And back in the 1920s and 30s and 40s, airmail was just getting into it. Highways, our highway system didn't really start until the 1950s. President Eisenhower, back in the 1950s, started our...
Would they get the mail if it was raining?
Oh yeah, because the canvas bags were kind of waterproof. And then what they do actually, this was a post office inside. And they'd sort all the mail. So when they got to Chicago, some of it would go on and be delivered in Chicago. The rest of it would be put on another train heading for the West Coast. RPO.
Could they drop off mail while they were going by too?
Good question. And I imagine they could. I imagine what they do is, if they had some, put in canvas bag, open the door and throw it out into the platform as it went by. Really, that's what they would do. I mean, these bags were pretty tough. They're a heavy-duty canvas bag, all-purpose.
Don't put anything breakable
But I
in the
mean,
mail.
yeah, you didn't want to. I mean, this was strictly mail. Okay. Few little questions. Okay, and then I'll do one more little bit on railway safety, and then you can go and do whatever you want. It's up to you guys. Go wild. No. Yes, ma'am.
I have some toy animals,
Mhm.
and they're about this big. And I'm wondering which size train would work with them.
If they're about that size, O scale or G scale. G scale even might be a little bit too big. G scale is kind. By the way, I didn't mention this one. G scale engines. This is sometimes called garden railroading. It doesn't have a real true scale. It goes from about 1 to 18 to 1 to 32 in that range. And a lot of people would actually do their modeling outdoors. That's why it's called garden railroading. And lay track in the outdoors and everything. I saw one guy had a tank car that he had a nozzle in the bottom of his tank car and he put a weed killer in it. So as it went along the track, it sprayed weed killer to keep the weeds off between the ties of the track. There's all kinds of slick little things. Okay, quick question and we'll go on. What is the most popular scale in model railroading? 2 letters. 2 letters. So it can't be Z, can't be N, and it means it's half of O. Yes, ma'am. HO, very good, very good. That's the very most popular. That's what you saw upstairs, okay? And it means 1 to 87. 1 foot on the railroad, on our train track up there is 87 feet in real life. Railway safety. How many have ever come up to ride the school bus when you come up to the train tracks? You ride the school bus? And you go on a field trip and you come up to a train tracks. What does the bus driver do?
Open the door.
He opens the door is one thing. What else does he say? Maybe, or he might even shout.
Be quiet.
Thank you. Because there's a saying when you come up to a railway crossing, is look, listen, and live. And that's a good thing to know, because many railroad crossings you come up to, they don't always have the greatest of signaling systems. Some of them might just have the crossbuck type thing. They might have the flashers, some don't. So you always should slow down, look, listen, and live. Another thing is, you have those crossing gates, they go doo-doo-doo-doo, and they come down. What shouldn't a driver do?
Go in between.
Drive around them. Last winter time, it was early spring, there were some young people down in West Michigan, down by Pawpaw area, and they decided to go around it. And they all were killed because they went around the crossbucks, the gates, and the train was coming, they didn't see it. You're not going to win against the train. Which is another thing. When you're driving, remember this. Trains go a lot faster than what you think they are. You ever look up in the sky, you watch a plane, looks like it's hardly moving, right? Same with the train. You look down the track, it's hardly moving. It's moving a lot faster than what you think. A lot faster. Never try to race a train and beat it across the track. They show it in the movies all the time. Great action shot. When they whip right in front of the train. Not a smart idea. And the last thing I want to talk about is, and I know one of the ladies from last session said there's actually a track like this down your way. It's called, you come up to a train track, it's got a stop sign and everything, and it's a double track. Okay? Here's one thing you shouldn't do, or what you shouldn't do. Here's a train, okay? This is the end of the train going this way, on this track. On the back track, there's another train going this way. The only problem is, you can't see this train, because this train is blocking it. By the way, this is the only question I got wrong on my driver's training test 1,000 years ago. It was sad. But anyhow, so what happens is, don't wait just for this last car to go by, then take off. Should always wait and make sure both tracks are clear. Because what happens is, here goes this train, hits way, and you start to go across, and boom, here comes this train from that direction. You never saw it coming. It'll probably be the last thing you'll ever see either. Okay. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? None whatsoever?
Where did the chickens ride?
Actually, there are chicken ones, and I have one at home. Not chicken, a car. And they will actually have, they've got the mesh and everything, and they're multi-tiered, and they will carry chickens. In fact, I know there's one modeling thing that made a car with chickens that I think you can hear the clucking of the chickens. That the sound, things in model railroading has really changed in the last few years. Did they explain anything upstairs to you? Nah. Okay, George, he knows more than I do, but he never says anything. We went running what is known as DCC, Digital Command Control. Way back when I was a kid, you put a train on the track, you turn the lever, and it ran. You put another train on the track, you turn the lever, they both ran same direction, same speed. All of our trains upstairs have what are known as decoders in them. They're little electronic devices. And what we do is we're able to send a signal from the throttle that they were holding up there to that individual train. So you can run multiple trains on the same track, hopefully in the same direction, which would be a good idea. But we can run 8, 9, 10 trains up there, all individually controlled at the same time. The other thing that's neat now is the sound in the trains. You probably heard that up there, the sound that the trains make. Back in the old days, they didn't make any sound whatsoever. Now, you got some trains, although I have one in for repair, that when you come into the station, you can push a button, and it will say, now arriving on track whatever. The train will actually say this, blah, 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 blah. You get into the station, you'll hear the passengers unloading from the train. You push another button, you hear the conductor saying all aboard and getting ready to take off. You have, when you slow a train down from speed, you'll hear the brakes squeal. You ring the bell, you blow the whistle. You can, even when you go to couple trains together, you push a button, and you'll hear the couplers couple. There's even what is known as the Doppler effect, which is kind of cool. Doppler effect, every train goes, well, you can, on diesel engines, some of them, you can push a button and the horn starts blowing, and you push another button and it will give you that sound as that train goes by, and which is known as the Doppler effect, which is kind of cool. Trains are really, really, really cool. They're a lot of fun. You guys are welcome back anytime. Any of you guys or gals in Scouts? Nobody is in Scouts. Ex-Scoutmaster, nobody is in Scouts. I was just going to say, make sure you when you leave today, you get one of our flyers about our train show. That's in January. Is it January?
November.
November. No wonder I never show up. No. In November, it's held at the MSU Pavilion. It's the largest train show in Michigan. We'll have at least 10 operating layouts there in all different sizes. There'll be N scale, Z scale, HO, S. I don't think there are any Gs.
We have the G on the floor.
Oh yeah, there is a big
auditorium.
big G scale in the auditorium. I take that back. I used to invite all the layouts. Of course, I'm old, I can't remember what I said. But, you're welcome. It's not that expensive to go to. Plus, you want to buy things. I think we have like over 400 tables that will have things for sale. Plus, like I said, the operating layouts from all over the state. There's a really nice one that comes up from Battle Creek. Right, George?
Best one there.
The best one there. I belong to another club, and so does George. Although George is from up this way, we do train shows all over the state. In fact, we did a show last month in Ohio. And it's kind of neat. We have modules which all fit together, so we can make a big layout and run our trains. It's a lot of fun. It's a good time.
You don't take part of the setup upstairs to the train
No,
show.
no,
you
we have,
separate.
what are known, these modules are usually between 4 and 6 feet long. We take the legs off of them, they all go together, with connecting track in between, C-clamp the sections together, put the legs on. We have wiring plugs that go underneath that connect everything electronically. And we run radio control, so we don't have to have anything attached, and off we go. And we have fun.
How long does it take you to set up?
Oh, about 3 weeks, no, about 3 hours, wouldn't you say, George?
Oh.
It depends on what size we make it. Like, in September, we set up a small layout at Woldemar for their American Heritage Festival, down in the basement of the barn there. And that takes a little while, but it's a fun time. It's a good time. Anybody have any questions? No? What should you do when you're driving a car and you come up to a railroad crossing? Look, listen, and live. Right, Charlie? That's good. Other than that, you've been a very good group. I really appreciate it. Anybody have any questions whatsoever? You saw something upstairs and you went, what's that for? Nothing? Yes?
Do they actually make cars that can go on a train?
I mean, what kind of cars?
Actual cars?
Oh,
Automobiles? Yeah. Like, that's what these are for.
No, she means like upstairs there was
We
a
all go to police.
like
Oh, that little car that was
Yeah.
going around? Yeah. Actually, that's an older one. You'll see once in a great while, you'll see like a pickup truck, it looks like. And if you look at it, they actually have like railroad wheels. And what they do is they drive up, then they drop those wheels down and in front and back. And those wheels actually go on the rails and the tires move along. Yeah, they have cars like that. That's very true. Charlie?
There's one upstairs like that, like it's a pickup truck and then it's got one that floats.
Yep, they're kind of cool. Hey, you guys are welcome to come back anytime here. We're open on Thursday nights. Try to make it to the train show if you can, because it's kind of an awesome sight. The other nice thing is, at the same time the train show is going on, right next door, which is in the MSU Pavilion, they have a horse show going on. We always tell people we don't charge extra for the authentic cattle car smell, but it's kind of neat, so that you can come in and look at trains and everything. You have to pay to get in for trains, unless you're a Boy Scout or Girl Scout, then you get in free if you have your uniform. But you can watch the horses, you can come in and watch trains, and it's kind of neat. And yeah, you actually can go out this way if you want, or you can go back upstairs, whichever way you want to go. You got an hour to kill, which is sad, but good luck, adults.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you for coming. We appreciate it.